For short answered me, I got my dinos. Before we dive into dinos though, we have one Mega Colony card that got revealed before all the dinos. Basically the rest is just dinos. We have one Mega Colony card to talk about though. That is, I can't remember this thing's name. It's this thing that looks like Tanya. It's on the screen right now. Whatever the frick it's called. So this thing is, when it's called, you rest it to give another rear plus 10, and then at the end of that turn, that rear goes into soul and you countercharge 1. Now this is actually really scary, assuming that Machining Stake Beetle does anything similar to what it did in its original form. If they keep it true to how it used to be at all, with its calling machinings from soul ability, this, with the amount of countercharge that Mega Colony has gotten, this enabling you to put Mantis back into your soul and Stake Beetle continually calling it out, is really scary. And like, if they continue to get like CB1 plus 1s, even ones that are on a chance, Mega Colony will have a really strong plus engine. And this card, like, there's really no drawback to this card. Like, it's a 6k, I guess, which is a bit of a drawback. But like, on the turn it's placed, it's just a 10k to wherever, and you can put it behind your Vanguard and like give 10k to another column or whatever, and like your Vanguard has probably has powers from some ability. Like, it's pretty good. This is a really solid card, assuming that Mega Colony, that Stake Beetle works the way it used to, similar to the way it used to, which it most likely will. Then we have the Tachikaze stuff. So first we had this grade 3 and grade 2, which have the exact same effect. 12k and 8k respectively, and they can counterblast 1, retire another rearguard to give all copies of both of these cards that are in the front row, no, anywhere on the field, plus 10k. With Excel circles, these can get pretty beefy if you have a bunch of them, but these are just commons. Don't expect them to see play. They're interesting enough, but let's get to the real juice, the stuff from the stream today. Probably the reason why Tachikaze has been getting so few reveals, because Tachikaze got a special mechanic all to its own, called Armament Gauge, something like that. The weeb talk for it is Buso Gauge, but we're not going to call it that because we are men of culture here. No, none of that weeb stuff. It's not going to be called Buso Gauge when it comes saying this, so I don't see any reason to call it by its weeb name. Okay, so how Armament Gauge works is it's basically soul for your rear guards. Abilities will allow you to give Armament Gauge to your rear guards. You take the top card of your deck, put it underneath it, and it's there until that rear guard leaves the field. It does stay under it when it moves to other zones, including the Guardian Circle apparently, and Armament Gauge cannot be, it's a private information zone. Only you can see what's in your rear guard's Armament Gauge. Your opponent cannot. Even when they have dominated the unit that has the Armament Gauge, apparently. Apparently, that's what Bushro said in the video they just put out about it. Alright, so I think that covers the basics of this. It's going to be used, Bushro said that it's going to be used for cost, so we haven't seen that stuff yet. But let's get into the cards that got revealed today. First, we have a grade 1 double rare Sonic Noah, which is when it boosts, it gives the boosted unit an Armament Gauge. And then when the attack it boosts or its own attack hits, you can retire another one of your rear guards and draw a card. Now this filter effect is really good because, like, okay, so if you're fighting anything that isn't Kagro, they cannot touch this card. This card is on the field to stay and your opponent cannot do anything about it. So every turn it's going to be building up Armament Gauge for you to use for effects for free. And anytime its attack hits, you're going to get to filter something off the field. Even if you don't have any effects to proc, you're getting to filter something that has already attacked or boosted something off the field and replace it with a card in hand. In that way, it's honestly a better air mode in some ways. like as a filter effect, it is arguably way better than air mode because it's repeatable. Its timing is always better. Its secondary effect has a lot more potential than Airmo's just +3 when boosting. And then there's the fact that I can proc any on-retire effects, which there are plenty of in Tachikaze. The grade 2 that were received is, I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter. Names don't matter. Okay, so when this guy's retired, you can Counterblast 1 to put up to 2 armament gauge from it to your hand. So obviously, very strong. Like CB1 +2, because you're probably going to be washing on the effect that retires it anyways, because like Noah is a kill a thing to draw a card. Death Rex, which we'll be talking about in a moment, is kill a thing to kill an opponent's thing and get power. So you're unlikely to be going minus on that retire effect in the first place, and then you get to CB1 +2, which is like the highest value effect we've seen in Standard. Like, that is a very good reward for the work that you have to put into this. We only have Noah for things that give armament gauge right now, but I'm assuming that we'll see a bunch more now that we know how the mechanic works. They were probably holding off on Tachikaze cards of the day until they had a chance to go, hey, this is how this mechanic works, so people aren't confused when they start showing it on card of the day. And then lastly, we have Tyrant Death Rex. Triple rare, has a gift, of course, on Vanguard and on rear, this is very important, and on rear, when it attacks a Vanguard, you can Soul Blast 1, retire one of your other rear guards, and then you get to retire one of your opponent's front rows, and then for each armament gauge that was in the thing you retired, it gets plus 10k power for that battle. This is stupid good. Like, this is easily the best retire effect in the game right now, just because it does not use counterblasts. Like, the only thing that's like this is Waterfall, which is only on ride, not repeatable like this is, and it doesn't gain power off of that skill. It's not usable on rear. Like, Waterfall is really strong. It has another effect, which is why its retire effect isn't way stronger. But like, this is something that you can really use earlier in the game. It has synergy with all of your on-retire stuff. It gets that plus power. Like, it's just super, super good. Like, non-counterblast retires, especially in a clan that isn't even focused on retiring stuff, is just super good. It's still front row restricted, so you can't hit any back row threats, but it's still amazing. Really, really good effect. And like, the fact that it works on rear is just so good. So like, if you want to, that indicates to me that Giga Rex will be something that doesn't need to ride over a grade 3, which is in line with Excel being an overall faster type of deck, even if Tachikaze doesn't really seem to have all that much multi-attack and seems to be more focused on advantage. But it makes sense that their VR would be one that works from the get-go, doesn't need you to build up to it, if that is the case. But the fact that it does its whole thing on Vanguard and rear, and that thing being really good, is just amazing. And like, Novas feel like they've been left in the dust, to be honest. Tachikaze is looking super good. This is most of the foils for them. The last double rare for them will be their perfect card, and then they probably have one triple rare and one in their VR left for foils. But this mechanic is super cool, and this stuff that they've shown today is really, really strong. So I'm optimistic about the future of Tachikaze in Standard. This is looking really good, and Spikes are looking really good, and Megathon is looking really good. So these usually underdog clans are looking real solid right about now, and I'm hopeful, very hopeful.